fight those two ladies one more time. Just read through it, check out any words you might not know, and give me a second here. Just send an email to Racnho. Okay. So just reading a little bit, even just reading the headings on this. We know we're talking about some friends, amigos latinos en Estados Unidos. We have Mexicano-Americanos y Cubano-Americanos, okay? We're talking about Hispanic people or Spanish-speaking people that live in the United States. Now, to be Cuban-American or Mexican-American, what do you guys think? What are the requirements? I mean, before you become just an American, go from being a Cuban American or Mexican American to becoming just an American. And do any of you guys consider but American? Does anybody think of themselves as Scandinavian American or British American?
I'm just American.
Yeah, my personal opinion is.
I'm all.
What's that?
I'm all American.
Yeah, my family's been here since the Mayflower, so, my rule of thumb is if you can't go there and blend in with the culture and they understand you and you understand them and you speak their language, then you're not that. So,
Well, so for me, like one half of my family has been here since the Mayflower, and then the other half, my grandpa moved to America from Switzerland.
Okay, so he was a Swiss American coming over, himself and then his kids, maybe, but by the time it gets to you, right?
Yeah.
You're just American. You're just American. So I think that's the same kind of thing. I mean, speak either what? So they speak French, or they speak what do they call it? A Dutch German or a German Dutch?
Yeah, I think it's Dutch German.
Yeah. Did your mom learn to speak that, or was it your mom or your dad?
It's my dad's side.
So did he learn to speak the language?
No, he didn't.
Okay. So then, basically your dad's generation, he became an American. So, culture, and you still have the language, So, but then once a generation stops speaking the language, I think that's when you're just American. You've taken over part in the American culture, and so you become American. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this. We'll start with Jared. Jared, go ahead and read the first to the first set of question marks there.
Wait, which page is this?
What's page 42? Página 42.
Oh, okay.
Amigos latinos en Estados Unidos. Latin or Latino friends in the United States.
Where it says hola amigos?
42.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Do you want me to, how much of it do you want me to read?
It says por qué.
Huh?
Just read and I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay, where it says Mexicano Americanos?
Mexicano, remember the X there says the
yeah.
sound.
Yeah. Hola amigos, somos Francisco Chavez y Guadalupe Garza. Somos alumnos en una escuela.
Escuela.
Escuela. Yeah.
Secundaria.
Secundaria, ¿se dice?
Ajá. Secundaria.
Okay. En Norteamérica.
In Norteamérica, right?
Norteamérica. Somos alumnos en una escuela secundaria norteamericana, pero para nosotros el español no es una lengua
Extranjera.
extranjera.
Okay, so stop right there. Okay, so if you look, you got the little numbers, the numbers above, and so that it'll give you the translation down below the reading. So extranjera, foreign. So para nosotros, for us, el español no es una lengua, language or tongue. It's actually, if you talk about a part of the body, la lengua is the tongue. So it's not a native, it's not a foreign tongue to us. This is so. Okay, so what do we know about Francisco Chavez de Guadalupe Garza?
He's a student in a secondary school in North America.
Okay. And so he repeats that, right? We are students in the secondary school or high school. La escuela secundaria is high school. Para nosotros, for us, the Spanish is not a foreign language or foreign tongue. Okay, go ahead and read, Abby, from there. Finish off that paragraph.
Porque nosotros somos de ascendencia mexicana, somos mexicano-americanos, somos el grupo número 1, el grupo mayoritario de hispanohablantes en Estados Unidos.
Todos repiten, hispanohablantes.
Hispanohablantes.
Are going to be silent, right? Hispanohablantes, Spanish-speaking people.
Hablantes.
So, ¿por qué? In the question marks is why, or for what? Like, for what reason did you do that? It's the same kind of thing. I could say that in English, but most of the time we just say why, right? For what reason did you find it necessary to not do your homework for 3 weeks in a row? Okay, so I can say, or why did you not do it? So, same kind of thing in English. And then when you scoop the two words por and que together and take off the accent, it means because. ¿Por qué? Well, no quiero, because I don't want to, right? Why didn't you do your homework? Why else did I not do my homework, right? I just didn't feel like it. Sometimes there's valid reasons, right? Like my son didn't do his homework last night because fuimos para comprar un carro. We went to buy him a car, so I gave him a pass last night, but okay. So, ¿por qué? This is because nosotros somos de ascendencia mexicana. Okay, so why language, not a foreign language? Because they're from Mexican background or from ascendants, right? Descendants is what you should say. Descendants. Yeah, ascendencia. Okay. Somos, that's a big word there, right? Mexican American. Somos mexicano-americanos. Big word. That's why I would just go with American. So what did they say about Spanish-speaking people in the United States? Mexican, or American? Somos el grupo número 1 de hispanohablantes en Estados Unidos. So what does that tell us? We are, right? We are the number 1 group, el grupo número 1, or el grupo majority group of Spanish speakers in the United States. So, I mean, well, a lot of times people, you can't assume anything. You really can't assume anything. But in the United States, on the West Coast here, the majority, I mean, probably 80 to 90% of the Spanish speakers in California are Mexican. And we can somewhat safely say Mexican, but you can't use it generically like that. Because there are, so you go to Spanish speaking people going to be from. Any ideas? Remember what island? If you go to Florida, and you're more specifically down on the southern coast of Florida, the majority of Spanish speaking people are going to be from where?
Cuba.
Cuba. You're going to have lots of Cubans. You have lots of Puerto Ricans. You're going to have República Dominicana. You're going to have all those island nations. So they get a huge influx in Florida from there. So you will still have some from Mexico because Mexico's, the east coast of Mexico is not that far from Florida as well. But so that's why in Texas, you're still probably going to find more Mexican Americans, way more Mexican, because Texas is actually what? The whole lower area of Texas is actually connected, right? A good portion.
Yeah, it borders Mexico.
At least what, like half of the southern and western Texas border is actually bordering Mexico. So go ahead and start reading for us, Rachel. And
Wait, where?
the next paragraph. Cubano-Americanos.
Okay. Somos Ramón, Garte y Marisa de Villa.
Okay,
Somos
so remember the and says E.
Okay, sorry. Somos de Miami en la Florida. Como muchas personas en Miami somos de
Miami. Use the Spanish pronunciation when at all possible.
Okay. Somos de esencia cubana, somos cubano-americanos.
Okay, muy bien. Ramón y Marisa. ¿De dónde son? ¿De dónde son Marisa y Ramón? Son de Cuba, ¿sí? So if I say, Jared, ¿de dónde eres, Jared? ¿De dónde eres? Remember, where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? How would you answer me that, Jared?
Well, Americano is American, right?
Right, so but I'm asking you looking for a location.
Like, or California.
So I am from, soy de California. Okay.
Soy de California.
Okay, did Lexi and Libby ever done this? No. Okay. And then so we know that so where do they live? Don't they live? En Miami, ¿sí? Somos de Miami en la Florida. Repiten, la Florida.
La Florida.
La Florida.
La Florida.
Okay, so different pronunciation. In English, we stress the O, Florida. Okay, the natural stress. And notice it's La Florida. Whenever you talk about Florida, you're going to Florida. I don't know why we don't say La California, but there's a couple of states where you say La. It's just like there's a couple of countries where you say the too. So Canada is Canada. But whenever you talk about Canada, you say El Canada. El Canada. It's just the way the language works. So anytime you talk about Florida, La Florida. Yo voy a la Florida. I'm going to the Florida. That's good. Okay, so go ahead and read for us, Emma, on the last paragraph.
Okay. El español es una lengua importante en todas partes
Todas.
de
Todas.
todas partes de Estados Unidos en Estados Unidos hay más de 44 millones de hispanohablantes.
Okay, so I thought you were just reading your numbers, Brad. So you guys, whose book says 44? Does anybody say anything different?
No.
Okay, so mine must be the updated version. You guys must have the version just before mine, because my reading is actually exactly the same up until we get to those numbers. Mine says más de 50
No,
millones.
ours is 40.
Yeah, so mine. You said 44 or just 40?
44.
So obviously we've updated by about 6 million Spanish speakers. So mine says millones de hispanohablantes. Okay. So how many we have? According to my book, we'll go with my book because I guess it's obviously a more recent edition. 50 million Spanish speakers. Okay. I don't know if they count native Spanish speakers. So like, I come from Mexico, I speak Spanish, but then I teach my children to speak Spanish. Children to halfway. Who are they counting? Are they counting me and my child? Or are they counting me, my child, and my grandchild? Those are so. So, do they count me? I'm a Spanish speaker. Who knows, right? Because it's just Spanish, hispanohablantes, Spanish speakers. So, who knows if they're counting me? So, es interesante. Let's look over in página 44. Página 44. Ever heard of Don Quixote? Don Quixote. Anybody? Okay, so this is about the time you start hearing about Don Quixote. Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. So let's look at the description on the top of the page. Okay, dos personajes importantes. Personaje is like character, right? Persons. So two important characters or persons make believe though. They're not real people. So, una descripción. Una novela famosa de la literatura española es El Quijote. El autor es Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. El Quijote es la historia famoso caballero andante, Don Quijote de la Mancha. La Mancha es una región. So this is a very famous piece of literature in Spain. I mean, it is probably the most famous. Has anybody ever heard of Don Quixote? Or Don Quixote?
No.
Or Quixote?
I have.
There's even an adjective in English. So if we say that a person is quixotic, anybody ever heard of that? Probably not. But quixotic comes from Quixote. And it describes a person like Don Quixote. Don Quixote is trapped in his own imagination. I mean, this is a super condensed, really just kind of a description about it. This is a full-length novel. And it's written in older Spanish. I think it's from like the 1600s. Because, you know, that's how old, I mean, Spanish literature is. And the older it goes, the harder it is to understand. Again, I liken it to King James, those writing in the Old English there. It's pretty understandable. And same with Don Quixote. You get a little bit older in their literature, and it's very, very hard to understand. You know, I'm fluent in Spanish, and I get most of it, but then there's some things I just can't quite figure out because it's just very, very different. And that's what happened through the years, is that it got further and further and further away from the Latin that it came from. And the more the more time passed on, the more it really language. So, okay. So we'll go ahead and have, who has not read? Sydney? Yeah. Sydney, go ahead and read through the first question marks.
The one that starts with donde? Donde?
Um,
Yes.
it could be slightly different because we got different versions here. Just start reading words that don't.
¿Dónde son alumnos?
Oh no, we're on page 44. We're talking about Don Quixote.
Okay.
Página 44. Is everybody else there as well?
Yes.
Sí.
Okay,
Don
didn't make that.
Don Quixote es alto y forte. Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I think we lost her. Lost her to laughter.
Yeah, maybe.
Gain your composure, Sydney, and rejoin us. Okay. How about Jared? Let's start with you, and then we'll let Sydney finish it up.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It went black, so I'm like, ah.
Yeah. All right. So, where am I?
Start reading where
Want
she
me to
started.
read? Where was that
Yeah.
at? The
Jared, that was a J. Página 44.
I know, but I totally got lost a while ago.
Yeah, you're probably watching something. I know how it is.
Because it keeps cutting out. I can't hear it very
Yeah,
well.
your voice cuts out a lot.
That's how special I am. Sorry. It's that country internet.
I know where we are if you want me to read it.
Go ahead, Emma, go ahead.
Do you want me to read the whole paragraph?
Just go down to the end of the first questions.
Okay. Don Quijote es alto y flaco.
Flaco.
Flaco. Sancho Panza es el compañero de Don Quijote, pero Don Quijote y Sancho Panza son dos personajes muy diferentes. Sancho es alto y flaco como Don Quijote.
So you need to change your intonation, right? You started a question. Sancho es alto y flaco como Don Quixote. Okay, so what does it tell us about Don Quixote? Don Quixote es alto y flaco. So which one is Don Quixote in this picture?
He's very tall.
Yeah.
The tall
One in the
back,
armor.
right? Yeah, so he's tall and thin. Okay, so then it asks us, pero Don Quixote y Sancho Panza son dos personajes muy diferentes. So they're two very different characters. Okay, Sancho. So it asks us about Sancho. What does it ask us about Sancho? ¿Es alto y flaco como Don Quixote?
He's short and
Is
fat.
he tall and thin? Like, so see. So es bajo y es gordo. Short and fat. Gordo is fat. Okay. So, Sydney, have you regained your composure enough you can read for us? Sydney?
Are you still there?
Bueller? Bueller? Okay, go ahead and read for us then, Addie. Oh, Sydney, were you going to do it? Go ahead, Addie.
Wait, where at? Sorry.
After that question. No, de ninguna manera.
Okay.
Are you on page 44 with us? It's the middle of the
Where it
paragraph.
starts at no de ninguna. Okay.
Yeah.
No de ninguna manera. Wait, just one sentence or how much?
No, finish it off.
Okay. Él es bajo y gordo. Sancho Panza es una persona graciosa. Él es cómico, pero Don Quijote no. Él es muy serio y es una persona honesta y generosa. Pero
Generosa.
Sancho Panza, Don Quijote es tonto. Y según Don Quijote, Sancho es perezoso.
Okay, so they think lovely things about each other, right? So según means according to. So if I say según el diccionario, Google es un verbo. Okay, so according to the dictionary, Google a verb. Okay, so what does Sancho think about Don Quixote? Pero según, okay. So the person writing this describes Don Quixote. Él es muy serio y es una persona honesta y generosa. So what do we know about Don Quixote?
He is serious,
Serious.
honest, and generous.
Yeah, so he's a very serious, honest, generous kind of person. Panza, but according to Sancho Panza, what does he think about Quixote? Okay, so what is tonto? He said Don Quixote es tonto. He's foolish and crazy. Okay? Y según Don Quixote, and according to Don Quixote, Sancho is perezoso. He says he's lazy. You're back. Okay, thanks, Sydney. Okay, so they don't have favorable thoughts about each other, right? They're good friends, but Don Quixote gets frustrated with Sancho because he just thinks he's lazy. So the basic idea of Don Quixote is that he's going out on this epic adventure. The big time when they were writing these, it was a big, you went on these epic adventures. So he didn't have this truly epic adventure. So they had one in the very back underneath Don Quixote's horse. You see a windmill in the back there. So he's going out and fighting, pretending to fight the windmills as if the windmills were the enemy, as if it were someone on another horse attacking him. So he's making up this huge in his mind, and that's why Sancho Pate es tonto. He thinks he's really foolish because there's no epic adventure. It's just a windmill. So it's muy interesante. I mean, it's much more involved, but this falls into the genre of epic adventures. There was these epic 1600s. That's what all the writers were writing about, these huge. And so this is kind of making a farce out of it. It's kind of making it's satirical, tire of these epic adventures. So that's why this is such a notable piece of literature. Whatever the literary folks of the time make themselves want to believe there's a good So I mean, is it a good read? Well, it's like I said, it's kind of a satire of the times, kind of poking fun at the literature of the day. So that makes it interesting. Okay. So if you ever, yeah, we did. I took a class and we read the whole thing. That is very traditional. If you major in Spanish, I doubt that you'll get away with not reading that book. It's pretty interesting. Like it's a challenge because it's written in Old Spanish. Okay. So yesterday we quickly went through, finished up all the house vocabulary. Of course, I'll give you a Quizlet on that, so we won't go over that. Let's look at the verb tener. 66, página 66. So let me put up the link to the Google Doc. Go there, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's the link. There you go. So everyone can join me there. And we'll look at the verbo tener. Es un verbo muy importante. Oops, stop it. Okay. So someone go ahead and fill in the pronouns for me. I will pull up our little
Give me 1 second.
Did you say 66?
66, muy bien.
Can you put the accented letters above, please?
I'm doing it right now.
My laptop's not working, so I can't go to the typey thingy.
The typey thingy. Jared, I just love your descriptions there.
I can try, but it just hasn't been working.
You should see the old computer I work on those days. I borrow my son's. My other work's fine, it's just noisy. So it's a little embarrassing. I tried putting it apart. There we go. Okay. Oh, but we don't need the verb ser. We're looking at the verb tener.
Huh?
We're looking at the verb tener, so I just want the pronouns here.
Yeah, it's still not working.
Oh, okay, just.
I just needed the pronoun. There we go. Okay. So remember, what does the verb tener mean? To have. So I have $10. I have to work. I have. So the same instances where we use have in English, you're going to use them in the same places. And, okay. So looking at number 2 on page 66, you use the verb tener to express age. Okay, so remember, I don't say I am 66 or I am 72. I say I have 72 years. Okay. So everybody underneath it, underneath the verb here, oh, not tango, but just tango. There we go. Okay. So everyone underneath where this is, go ahead and type your age. Tell me in a sentence how old you are. Say, I have so many years. And if you need help, examples under the number 2 there. Yo tengo 14 años.
Um, 14 in
You can
Spanish.
just tell me.
That's 14 in Spanish is Is it cuarenta? Or how do you say it? Crap, forgot.
14.
14.
14.
14. Okay, so that's what I was thinking of. the same one. Yo tengo 14 años.
Okay.
Right?
Muy bien. Yes. This class. Okay, so we got Sydney tiene 13, Emma tiene 13, Ari tiene 13 y 14 es Rachel y Jared tiene 14. Okay, so then Ari tiene 16. Jared, Ari tiene 16 años.
Yeah, sí.
Yeah. And then how about Lexi and Libby? ¿Cuántos años tiene?
Lexi is
Lexi's 14 and Libby is 16.
Okay, so just like you and your sister. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Muy bien. Okay. So what grade is everybody in? 9? 9?
Sí.
Yes. Okay. Y Emma es 8.
I'm at ocho.
Okay, I didn't.
I don't pay attention to my grade since I'm homeschooled.
Yeah, not that big of a deal.
Emma, you're probably in 8th grade.
Probably, yes, that's what I'm thinking, because you're in ninth.
Okay, so just know that in año, it should be ñe. Ñe, años, okay? So if you want to ask somebody how old they are, ¿cuántos años tienes? How many years do you have? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántos is how many? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos hermanos tienes? How many brothers and sisters do you have? ¿Cuántos tíos tienes? How many aunts and uncles, right? Where is my cursor? Am I up here? So, ¿cuántos años tienes? Tienes or tiene, right? Should be an upside down one, but we're just going to do that there. ¿Cuántos años tiene? Yo tengo. Okay, so taking it back to yesterday's vocab, so we had viejo and nuevo. What do those two mean? Old and new, right? So how would I say, we're gonna, Jared has a new car.
I can drive it, but not legally.
So how would we say, why not translate that for us? Jared?
I can see the car and that's about it. How would you say that?
What form of the verb tener would we use? Jared could be replaced with he. So whenever we do this one, we always do él and ella as well. So tiene, right?
Yeah.
So Jared tiene. Now don't replace it with él. Keep the subject, yeah, because the subject is Jared. So we'll keep it Jared. And so Jared has, yes, because that's the to form, right? So we're talking in the L form to take, yeah. So Jared tiene, tiene un carro nuevo. Okay. Jared has a new car. Okay, Jared tiene un carro nuevo. Muy bien. So now, what if I want to say that, and Rachel have an old bicycle. Tienen una bicicleta vieja. Muy bien. Okay? So tienen, we got the, so if I needed to think about it, I don't know which part of the verb. I know since my subject is plural, it's only going to be the right-hand side, right? And it's not we. So it's going to be, I would replace it with what? I would replace it with they if, I have to, think about it. So Sydney and Rachel, they have an old bicycle. And I used this example one time in my class, and someone thought it was very unfair. And I said, no, you have an old bicycle that's very valuable. So you guys are going to go turn it in and sell it and buy yourselves a new car because it's like the first Schwinn bicycle ever manufactured. So it's worth, let's say, $100,000 value of ancient bicycles is, but there's some value. And beauty is all in the eye of the beholder, right? So it's only worth what someone's willing to pay, right? It may only be worth the scrap metal that it's actually made of, but if I feel that it's important enough to me and I want to pay $100,000, well, that's what that bike is worth. Okay. Let's do one more. And I have $1,269 of George. George, didn't I? George. I have. So Jorge y yo, George and I. Okay, so which form of the verb I'm going to use? I can't use the I form, right? George and I, what can I replace that with? Replace it with a pronoun. I would say George and I. Instead of George and I would say we. Okay, so George and I, we have $1,269. So we is what? Is nosotros. Okay. So Jorge, but don't put in nosotros, right? I'm just getting you to think of what you needed. If you were to replace it, you would replace it with nosotros. So say George and I have $1,269. Muy bien. Jorge y yo tenemos. Muy bien. Jorge y yo. Spell it out. Spell it, yeah. Muy bien. So you don't need to say un mil, you just say mil. Mil. How do you say $1,269? Aaron.
Sorry, what?
How do you say $1,000?
Sorry, it keeps cutting out.
How do you say $1,269?
1,000. Mil? How do you say 200?
Uh-huh.
How do you spell doscientos?
Right? Mil,
One word. That's why. It's one word. That's why. Oh, 200. Emma, yours needs an S. There you go. Dos.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm sorry, Jared. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you have mil
It
doscientos.
was y 16. Correct?
69. I said 69.
Oh, you said. Oh, wait. You said how much?
1,269.
Oh, 69. Oh, yeah. 79. 9. 9. No, yeah, 9.
69. Yeah, 60, no 70. Okay, so
Ah,
Rachel,
60.
let's look at Emma's right here. You see how the red line is showing you a spelling mistake? If you'll right click it, it'll give you the spelling, even though it's in Spanish. So I just click on it, and it automatically changes it to the one with the accent for me. Dólares, dólares.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So anytime I like about so go ahead and and so go ahead and click on it, Addie. Right click on it and select it. It'll tell you. It's usually accents. So just right click on it, and it'll bring it. Says, "Did you mean dólares with an accent?"
It's not letting me do it.
Was that?
It's not letting me do it. My computer.
Yeah, it did it. So maybe Emma did it for you. Yeah, you don't even have to highlight the red below it. You just right click the word and it'll give it to you. It's and so it's very good. It's very smart. Either that or you can go up. It's it's honestly easier to do that than to copy the A from the top and then put it in there. So like I said, Google's very good. It thinks back and forth in Spanish. I mean, this document has Spanish and English in it, and it doesn't. In a Word document, everything in Spanish would be red. So, like of Google Docs is that it's bilingual. So right here on Sydney's line, where doscientos, Sydney, go ahead and click on right click on doscientos, and it'll show you what your mistake is, and it'll tell you it's only supposed to be one word, and you just So it's nice. It's a really very useful, very useful tool. Okay, but if it's a word that can either have an accent, still be a word, just like in English, it won't spell check you. Like so, if you put the word red, R-E-D, and you meant to put R-E-A-D, spell checker's not going to catch you, right? Because they're both valid words.
Yeah.
In English. So it's not going to catch like syntax errors. That I would consider that a syntax error, a misuse of words. So, okay. So preguntas. Any questions on the verb tener? And in general, so you guys are catching it. Why we're changing it to the different forms to make it has to be the right form of the verb to match the subject. Okay. And if I don't know, if I say Susana y Jorge have $10 for lunch, and you don't know which one to use, okay, what can I replace Susana and Jorge with? They, right? So then I know, okay, I go to the ellos and I use that form of the verb. Though I'm not replacing it, I still want the sentence to say Susan and George for lunch. I just know that, okay, in my head, I go, that would be they, so let me use the ellos form. Okay? So, preguntas, no preguntas, hasta martes.
Hasta martes.
Hasta martes, adiós, clase. I'll get the homework loaded up here this afternoon.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios.